Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again, this time in sharing my thoughts on CBR's report in regards to the adaptation of the Brian Michael Bendis HBO Legion of Superheroes, but as an animated series. As you can see here at the beginning of this article, they point out that yes, that HBO are planning on doing a adult animated series of the Legion of Superheroes. Of course, we have a picture of one of the Super Sons he destroyed, especially to us Super Sons readers out there who dislike what he actually done to John Samuel Kent. Him along with Didio's direction, so in this case they are basically seen as an associate to the action. That's not to say that Brian Michael Bendis does actually have some good titles out there, which I do highly recommend. Pick up his Jinx World. That is one thing of his that I do recommend over his DC comics. Starting off with Torso, Powers. Personally, I enjoy a lot of his indie work more so than his mainstream work. So in other words, I do not personally hate Bendis. I'd love to meet him in person. As much as I dislike what he has done with John Samuel Kent in his run on Superman and also Action Comics. I know I'm not the only one who shares these thoughts. But if I were to meet Brian Michael Bendis in person, I'd probably want to have him sign maybe one of the indie comic books of his. Not so much his DC. That's just personal. Moving into the beginning of the article, we have Bendis talking about his co-creation of Miles Morales, as well as what he did with Jessica Jones, and we finally move into talk about Naomi McDuffie, who was in the Wonder Comics run, to which he's actually returning again for a second volume, not second season, it should be called the second volume. And one of the thoughts that come to mind in relation to this is that with one of the things that are planned in the solicits, and I'm not too sure how many people have actually come to this conclusion. If it's just myself, so be it. If not, hey, at least I'm not the only one thinking the same thing. Now, in next year's solicits of DC Comics, and it's also been shown in the November solicits, as well as the December solicits, is that next year that we are going to see the Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes. And I wouldn't be surprised if, of course, Brian Michael Bendis brings back, guess who, back to the table. A character that he destroyed after he took over Tomasi and also Jurgens. Not just Superman did he destroy, but he also played a part in the destruction of John Samuel Kent. And that began in the Man of Steel run. It carried over in the Action Comics. And after the Action Comics and the Superman comic runs that he did, it then carried over into the Wonder Comics in regards to that run, to which he also played a part in the destruction of Tim Drake's character, once again. Not only Tim Drake's character, but also, I'd have to say, including Dan Didio's character of Sideways. The way Dan Didio also did Sideways, I quite enjoy, even though there are some people who I understand don't personally enjoy Dan Didio's Sideways, and that's fine. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I'm not here to change that opinion. But I'm here to bring this information across. But as we continue in this particular interview through CBR, of course, they reply, hey, well, speaking about the newsletter. Now, this is talking about the latest newsletter that Brian Michael Bendis posted on his Substack. And in this Substack, which you can easily look up online, subscribe to, and I must admit, Brian Michael Bendis does deliver out really nice Substacks to his audience. That is one thing he does actually have going for him. But what he doesn't have going for him is some of the characters that he has actually played a part in ruining in mainstream DC Comics. Another thing too is, I know I'm not the only one to think this, is that I believe Brian Michael Bendis would do way better on DC Elseworld stories. And that's the truth. I believe he would work out way better on DC Elseworld stories, and I'll have to see if I can try to get up a Joker's World live stream to which we do, in fact, talk about Brian Michael Bendis and his career. But until then, or until that happens, it's just a thought in the air until it's made a reality. Moving into next, the writer confirmed that HBO's Legion of Superheroes animated series would indeed be an adaptation of his title run, which had an overall 14 issues, if you include the Millennium, which was actually a 2-issue series, and it should never have been called Legion of Superheroes. Another thing that also makes sense too is he also brings up Naomi here. So yes, Naomi, the show, helped create with Legion of Superheroes, so this seems to have me think that this is going to coincide with the Naomi, as well as possibly the return of John Samuel Kent in the Legion of Superheroes and Justice League. So we'll have the return of that once again. So we're going to have Brian Michael Bendis doing more damage to the character of John Samuel Kent, unless that changes at DC and also through HBO to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, as I brought up earlier, in the solicitations that are coming up next year of something that I will be reviewing on the channel, and that will be the Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes, and it basically revolves around the character of the Gold Lantern, as we never really got a beginning, middle, or end about this character in Brian Michael Bendis' run. Nor did we ever learn or understand the powers of what the Gold Lantern actually meant. Sure, there were hints, but in some cases, hints aren't good enough. You have to literally show what the item does and how the item works. There are many people who also enjoyed Brian Michael Bendis' Batman universe, hey, if you enjoyed it, good for you. As for myself, it was covered in my Fool's Gold review, and there were things and problems that I had issues with his story on it. So, until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.